Welcome, wrestling friends, to a special edition of Smarknado. I'm your host, Eric Druckman. With me, as always, Dan Aconda, Dan Cesnit. Dan, what's going on?
Not a whole hell of a lot. Super excited to be here for this special edition. So without further ado, I'll let you go ahead and introduce it.
For sure, man. Joining us today, we're honored to welcome one of the premier technical wrestlers on the American independent scene. This Friday for Limitless Wrestling, the games we play, he faces the independent wrestling champion Lee Moriarty. Please welcome to Smarknado the Golden Grappler Travis Huckabee. Travis, what's going on?
Whoa, I feel like I've been here before. Whoa. Yeah, not too much. Not too much. I'm pretty excited about this Friday. I'm sure we'll talk about that more as this goes on.
No doubt about it. We're happy to have you here. And as is tradition with anyone we have on the show, what were your earliest memories of wrestling? And for you specifically, when did you know that this was something that you wanted to do?
So I'm the youngest of four. I've got a twin sister, but she's technically older. So I've always considered myself the youngest. Mm-hmm. Going along with that, I remember when I was a kid, just hanging around. Either I shared a room with my older brother or something, but I remember there being a TV on and just the various glimpses of what I would see on the TV that my brother was watching. And I remember very random sort of things. Like I remember the Giant. I remember Chris Jericho. Sure. I remember Crow Sting, who was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, no doubt. Take me back.
But I wouldn't really call myself a big watcher at that point. Mm-hmm. I remember when I first started watching actively. Again, I came down. I was older at this point, teenager, however old at that point. Went down my brother's room. He was watching it. I remember seeing John Cena's debut promo. I remember seeing Rey Mysterio and a couple other things. And I think that sort of just drew me in. So then sure enough, I was watching every night, or every night it was on, that is. Not like today where there's something on every 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I was big time watcher at the time. And then eventually my brother started taking me to independent shows. So I went to see Ring of Honor, Chikara, a handful of other Philly-based ones around that time. So late 2000s. And just after a few years of doing that, I was kind of getting towards the end of my high school years, and I'm thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, I want to do that.
Right on.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool. So what were some of your earliest memories attending those Philly-based, I'm sorry, not earliest memories, fondest memories attending those Philly-based independent shows? Were any big moments that you witnessed?
This is going to be a very specific one. Mm-hmm. Probably one of my favorite things I was in the crowd for. I don't want to say favorite because there's been so many things I've been fortunate enough to see live, but the one that kind of jumps to my mind is probably the biggest reaction I've ever heard to anything. I was at a Chikara show. I think it was in Hellertown, maybe Reading, that sort of area.
Okay.
I remember I was watching a match between Hollow Wicked and Delirious versus Player Uno and Stupefied at the time.
Sure.
Just throughout the beginning of the match, just as Delirious is wrestling with Uno, he's making all these very obscure old video game references.
Okay.
They're going back and forth with it, Delirious was shouting 32X, Neo Geo, all these Sega CD, all these ones, and every single one he's saying, Uno is just getting more and more upset. It's like, no, it was terrible. It was the way you get to play baseball and everything. And the sort of culmination of this is that, like, right at peak, Uno was about to just go off. Delirious just interrupts him midway through. I was like, oh yeah, how about this? Princess Peach is a tramp. And the room explodes.
Oh my God.
You can find this video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just when you're done with this, or people listening to this, pause it, go YouTube, search Princess Peach is a what? And you should be able to find it. And it's just but yeah, that was one of the biggest pops I've ever had, watching something live and being in the audience for it.
That is absolutely wild, man. I love those hilarious moments in independent wrestling. I mean, it's just so unmatched. Yeah, so going back to your actual style as a wrestler, who are some of your influences as a wrestler, and who do you pattern your style off of?
So I think when I first had sort of decided that I wanted to do this kind of thing initially in high school, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna wrestle in high school. So I think that's where I got a lot of my early stuff. One of the other moments that I was fortunate enough to bear witness to, I remember watching it was 2011. It was in the 2300 arena. It was Mike Quackenbush, my eventual trainer, teaming with Johnny Saint versus Colt Cabana and Johnny Kidd.
Dude, forget about it. Oh my God. World of Sport was all over the place.
Yeah, it was Chikarosaurus Rex Night 2, 2011. Now, Johnny Saint, who I think is the older between him and Johnny Kidd,
sure,
was probably in his 50s or 60s, but he did not skip a beat. He was the smoothest. He was still, silky smooth, and they went probably 20-30 minutes just in this tag match. It was ridiculous, and I had never seen anything like that before.
And it was probably just a lot of like holds and transitions and whatnot.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I would just get lost in YouTube rabbit holes when I would be in high school, like watching Johnny Saint, and like the way that he would get out of certain things would just be, it's like he was doing magic tricks,
There's a beauty in some of the simplicity of it, but also in how intricate it is. He manages to make it look like both at the exact same time.
Yeah.
So dog ear that match, when I finally got around to training, I remember one of the few times I was on a car ride with Quackenbush. Like, I asked him about these World of Sport guys, and he gave me all these stories and kind of gave me some rabbit holes to dive down itself. And I think just through my interest in it, he sort of nudged me in that direction. So I ended up studying people like Steve Gray, John Cortez, Jim Breaks, a lot of those old World of Sport guys. But then there's some other ones, William Regal, Dean Malenko. More recently, it's kind of been going to people like Minoru Suzuki.
Respect. That's a bad man.
It's funny to say that, because like as a Lapsed fan, I got back into it sort of when NXT UK took off a little bit, and a lot of those guys like really grabbed me, like specifically, like I vividly remember like just being entranced by Pete Dunne and I'm just trying to complete when Pete Dunne won the title. Like I don't know why I'm blanking right now.
Tyler Bate. Yeah.
Tyler Bate. Yeah, I don't know.
Tyler Bate, Trent Seven.
But like that whole like that UK styles to me like kind of sucked me back into, you know, it got me away from watching the high flying stuff. So it's awesome
like,
to hear you
it's like chess, you know? It's like watching a
totally.
I love it.
Yeah, this is gonna go off into its own separate tangent, I swear. I look at technical wrestling in two different sort of aspects. I look at technical wrestlers and then I look at grapplers. And I think a lot of the prevalence now happens to be on both of them. I think a lot of the more recent stuff has been on the grapplers, the people like your Timothy Thatchers, your people like Oni Lorcan, Drew Gulak, those sort of people who are very good at that competitive sport like feel to it. Your technical wrestlers are the ones who are able to have that kind of tit for tat, catch can, hold for hold, and you know, finding their own ways out of it. But I think both of them have become very popular recently, and I don't even know why I was even bringing that up in the first place. But I feel like that sort of prevalence has brought in a whole new sort of audience.
Yeah,
maybe that's the point I was getting to.
It's real sport. I mean, like I like most styles of wrestling, but it's like when you look at these grapplers and these catch can guys, you're seeing like real sport in such a way that it's easy for, you know, maybe a lapsed fan that I was to be like to sort of equate that to actual sporting instead of like. So some people would say that the high flying stuff is a little on the silly side, so they might just be drawn to that. You know what I mean? Like I appreciate all styles, but I could see how, you know, somebody might be drawn to that specifically.
Yeah.
All right. So what 3 matches, just off the top of your head, we're not gonna make you strain your brain on this. What 3 matches would you tell someone to watch to best understand you as a performer?
Oh boy.
Full disclosure, this was my question.
Here's the thing, there's been so many that I've been proud of for different sort of reasons. So the first one, I'll even say this match coming up with Lee. I hope I'm not spoiling this for anyone, but this match was recorded, you know, a little bit ago. I'm also don't feel too bad about spoiling that because there's going to be something else that I'm going to be wrestling in. It's getting released like maybe immediately before or immediately after the match.
Okay.
In 2 completely different states. So hopefully that doesn't blow anyone's mind that I'll be doing a bit of a Rick Rude. Anyway,
wow. Okay.
This match with Lee is something I'm very proud of. I think it covers a lot of the things that I enjoy in wrestling.
No doubt.
Also, like some very generous people sponsored the match, and
hey, I mean, we do what we can here.
We were very.
We just like great technical wrestlers.
So that happens to be one. This isn't me just trying to gas you guys up or anything. Another one may be I had a Pure Rules match with Sage Phillips and Bizarro Lucha.
Okay, I've seen some of his stuff. He's pretty good.
Yeah, I almost hate throwing around the word underrated just because my own sort of feelings about it. but he was a student of Billy Rock, who, fantastic trainer, fantastic wrestler in and of its own right.
Indiana, right?
Yes. So I got to go out there. I kind of hate the commentary on it. Maybe just watch it with the audio turned down.
Okay. Right on.
Duly noted.
That's on IWTV?
Yes.
Okay.
I think later on the show, Effie wrestles someone for the ownership of his mortal soul.
Okay. Oh, nice. Wait. Is this Ace Perry?
Yes.
Is that what? Because like I watched the Big Gay Brunch and it was like soul on a pole, and I did not understand the context of it.
Yeah,
So, like, this is all kind of making sense now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was the main event that night.
Yeah.
Effie was wrestling him for the ownership of his mortal soul.
That's a lot at stake.
So that was match number 2, and then match number 3, maybe 4. Storytelling purposes, my match with Solo Darling, my singles match.
Right on. Okay.
And that covers a lot of sort of where I started and where I got to. Solo was someone who I teamed up with for like the first year and a half, I think, of my career. Then there was a fallout, and then just throughout like the next sort of year after that is sort of diving into the story of Solo and I, and that all kind of came to a head in that match.
I was gonna say that was a very layered story there towards the end of Chikara between you two, especially ending up with you guys facing off for the tag team championships right at the end there. That actually brings me to my next question, ironically enough. So you've also made a name for yourself as a tag team wrestler with partners like Solo Darling, Tony Deppen, Matt Mikowski. What was it like teaming with and working with each of these partners individually?
First of all, I think all 3 of them are incredible wrestlers in their own rights, all in completely different ways. They all sort of had their own pluses and minuses. Solo she was fantastic at getting me, at like teaching me about certain things that you probably wouldn't expect to need to, or you wouldn't expect like that's something you got to learn.
Okay.
Interesting.
So like my very first match, she shows up and she hands me like a bind, or not my first match, but like I think our first match where we're teaming together. She hands me a binder with 8x10s and all these other things that she got printed for me. It was like a personalized thing. It was like, here's a price list for things, for merch. Here's some 8x10s, some 5x7s, like some sticker things. Like, don't worry about it. I covered all this stuff. She made my first couple sets of gear, and
very cool.
She was very supportive in a lot of ways like that. Not to mention, I think Solo is also a very unique sort of person to talk to. She has interesting ways of viewing things, and I think that could be beneficial.
That's great.
But then there were also other sort of drawbacks into like the team. I think just the way we communicated, at least as far as our teamwork goes, I don't think it was the best for me learning how to be me, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like, I don't necessarily know if I got into my groove until after the team split up, unfortunately.
Right. Not a natural rumble bee.
Yeah, like, I think if I was to go back and, at the point I'm in my career now, if I was to go, I think her and I could make something work. Not that I'm trying to shoehorn that. but I think that would have been a better spot, you know, me being in the team after already figuring some stuff out.
Cool.
Tony is a phenomenal wrestler, and like props to him for, you know, he just won the Ring of Honor TV title.
Saw the match. Awesome. So happy for him.
Very well deserved. He's very hardworking guy, great guy and everything too.
Seems like a good family man. I appreciate that as well. You know.
Oh yeah. The last sort of time I got to catch up with him, like he's talking about his family and his wife's a sweetheart, and you know, all this fantastic stuff for him. And again, I'm very happy for it. He's fantastic wrestler, has been doing it for a while. But I think the issues that I might have had were just, I think him and I started teaming up together right as his singles career was starting to, you know,
really
get bigger and bigger.
Oh yeah.
So it was just unfortunate timing. I think that was probably the main portion in his brain. And then it's kind of just like, yeah, we got this, also got this team, and we got the titles.
Right. I know where you're coming from. Yeah,
but
I mean,
I think.
Go ahead.
No, but I was just gonna say, I think the two of us had. I think it was a lot of fun. I think the two of us had a very fun dynamic, teaming up together as well.
Nice.
Right on. And Matt Mikowski.
Oh my God, Matt. He is so good at what he does. It's crazy, and I say without any sort of exaggeration, he's probably the most intense wrestler I've ever seen.
I believe you. I've been watching him over the past year, just like you, man. Like, he's exploded.
The only person who may be more intense than Matt Mikowski was Kurt Angle when he was on all those painkillers.
Okay. Oh wow.
That's probably the single person above Matt Mikowski. But yeah, the stuff that he's good at, he's incredible at, and he's getting so much recognition, especially lately with Beyond and Bloodsport and all the other places. Him and I have a different sort of dynamic than the other two. It's weird to come in as the more veteran of the two people.
Right.
Interesting. And also the way that he tends to think about things is a little bit different than mine. Like he'll write everything down. Just that's just the way that he remembers things. That's the way that he retains things, or whatever it's going to be. While I'm much more of a visual type of person. You know, if I could see things, I could figure it out. And it's just that weird sort of dynamic there. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun with him. You could see some of the goofy stuff that we get to do even at Camp Elite Frog.
Yeah, right.
Blonde mullets and all.
You guys are kind of the bullies. Yeah, don't tell Matt this, but I definitely popped when you beat him the last Limitless show too.
I did too.
Yeah. All right, so what are, over the past year, the pandemic, what are some wrestlers that have caught your eye? Who would you like to mix it up with the next year or so?
Ooh, man.
I heard Daniel Bryan's a free agent.
Yeah.
I don't want to just throw out the same names because you're gonna hear them all the time. I hope it's not a lot, or I hope it's not shocking for anyone for me to say I want to wrestle people like Daniel Garcia.
Sure.
He's exploded. Lee Moriarty was someone who I wanted to work with for a very long time. That was fantastic. handful of other ones. I was fortunate enough to get to work a bit with Masha Slamovich. We had a match on the road for Limitless.
Okay, yeah, I think I might have seen that one. Yeah, she was in like a Joshi dojo for a while, right?
Yeah, she spent a year I think a little over a year in Japan. She was over there, and then, COVID hit. So she had the option of coming back here and being sort of miserable like everyone else was, or staying over there. And at least over there, she had the opportunity to continue wrestling.
Smart girl.
And she stayed over there and kept wrestling for a year. Just the sort of work ethic on her was nuts. So like those are a lot. So I mentioned Lee, who the match is coming up. I mentioned Masha, who the match already happened, even though I'd love to have another one. Daniel Garcia, I'd love to get to have a match with him. Ashton Starr, the work that he put in like the Cassandra Cup is fantastic. Kennedy Copeland's.
Okay.
Her and I joke around about, one person avoiding the other. We're supposed to wrestle like several different times. It just never worked out.
Really? Okay. Seen maybe a couple of her matches.
She's would be a good way. Scrappy.
Yeah.
So I actually have
Definitely
a question for you to sort of tack onto that. Like, so we've talked a lot in the past on our show about some younger wrestlers, the likes of, Billy Starks and Starboy Charlie, and they put on a show at Spring Break over WrestleMania weekend. What do you think about wrestlers coming into the game sort of that young? And do you have any interest in wrestling guys and girls like that?
Oh, that reminded me, talking about people who are very young. One of these days, I'll get to have a match with Robert Martyr.
Oh, that kid is. I just saw him like over WrestleMania weekend. That was holy shit for someone his age. How technically sound he is. My God.
Yeah.
But.
Sorry, I forget what the question was.
Wrestling the younger talents of independent wrestling.
It's wild to think about. If you look at a lot of these people, like the ones that we mentioned earlier, in the UK, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, those guys who are, I think Pete might be, what is he, like 25 now?
If that, yeah. 24, 25-ish. Like
mid-20s, and Tyler's even younger than that.
Yep.
But these are the guys that started when they were like 16.
Yeah.
The reason they're so insane now is because they've already been doing it for a decade.
Yeah.
So I could only imagine how people like Billy are gonna be down the line. It's nuts considering how good, like Billy, for example, how good she is now.
Yeah.
I very much do look forward to I would very much look forward to the opportunity of working with anyone like that.
I was gonna say, Travis, someone that I know you're familiar with, Janai Kai, who I saw you face over at Leapfrog. I saw her and Billy had one of the best matches of the JCW show this past weekend. That was just absolutely mind-blowing, and it just makes me so happy and proud of like where independent wrestling is the place that independent wrestling is in, and the future of women's wrestling. Those two just sold.
There's a lot of people that I imagine just having so much down the line. One of the other matches I have coming up soon is with Alec Bryce.
Oh my, another one.
He's been
I raved about it.
The praises for days now. He's like, you got to watch this guy too. And like, I'm like, there's only so many hours in the day. I want to see them all, but yeah.
He's such a glorious prick. I love him.
So I do have the fortunate opportunity where I get to work with him soon.
Awesome.
And me going into it, I almost look at it like, Alec is just such a dislikable personality.
Yes.
That people are just going to want to see me just beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Good.
No
Well, I
doubt.
will watch that match for sure then.
Hell yeah. I mean, up. All right. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, I imagine that, in the next, even like a year from now, I imagine like he's one of those people that's just going to explode.
I agree with you. I sign off on that one. Sure. He's got this same sort of dislikability to that of like an MJF, but like just more of a hybrid wrestling style. And that, yeah, he's you can see it. All right. So, once COVID is fully passed, do you have aspirations of wrestling internationally, and what promotions would you like to work for, if that's the case?
So first of all, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny. I was actually planning a trip back to the UK when COVID was going down. So I remember one of my trainers was going to go and do a tour of the UK and spend like a few months over there, going kind of country to country, working with a few different promotions out there, holding seminars, wrestling matches. My plan was that I was going to go out and kind of tag along with him for, I think I had planned it out for about like a 2-week period.
Okay.
My goal was to do that in like right around May. So almost a year ago at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to do all that. I was getting really excited for it. I was talking to the guy about it. And then like, this was back in February. I was like, cool. And then I sent him a text one day and I was like, hey, so this thing might not work out. I was like, what? Oh. And then, we got that whole 2-week shelter at home, whatever
right
sort of thing that lasted a year.
Yes.
So that was originally my plan. One of the main places I wanted to go and places I still want to go is back to the UK.
Okay.
Sure, you can imagine with my style and a lot of my influences.
For sure.
I wanted both the opportunity to kind of work over there, also learn sort of as much as I can from any of those places, sort of through there. For whatever is left of the UK wrestling scene.
Yeah.
Hey, if anybody can bring it back, it's you.
Yes, the American.
Why not?
Yeah, man. Oh my God. We got him over here. All right. So where do you see Travis Huckabee in 5 years?
Saving the British wrestling scene.
I love it. British heavyweight champion for Rev Pro.
Look out, Will. Look out.
There's new empire in town.
Yeah, no, I'd love to get to a point where I can make this my full-time thing, wrestling more regularly, hopefully spending more and more of my time with the freedom where I can travel overseas, do things like that, heavyweight champion of Rev Pro.
Yeah.
Good.
Etc.
Right on, man. Why not? So when you're not training in the ring, what do you, the real person, like to do in your spare time?
So I think it was back in the fall, I got my CrossFit L1 cert. So I know I don't necessarily look like Seth Rollins or anything like that, but I love my powerlifting. I love doing that sort of stuff. I coach at a gym that's fairly local to where I am. I'll do that. I just started training at a MMA gym at Makowski's recommendation.
Naturally.
So I'm giving that a shot. Goodness. Trying to think of what I actually do in my spare time.
On the spot, it's so hard, isn't it? I don't even know what I do, and I'm trying to ask you what you do.
Yeah. It's like I can think of all these things I have. It's like I got a PlayStation, but I've got like 4 unopened games that I've had for months. I've got a guitar that I haven't played in months. I do like to do portraits of friends.
Oh man, really?
Yes.
Cool.
The problem is that I'll spend, like 5 or 6 hours on a pencil portrait of someone to get as photorealistic as I can. And then it's like, oh, all right, that was 6 hours. Now I'm exhausted.
Is that the deal you got on your Instagram here? Is that a picture that you did?
Are you pulling something up?
Yeah, you and the bear.
Let me see if I could find it's a podcast, so it's not like people are gonna see it.
Sure.
But like I'll do portraits for friends.
Oh, good God.
Oh, that's
wow.
Very good. For those of you that can't see it.
No. So the second picture on Travis's Instagram, that is not his artwork. He has beautiful artwork that he just showed us.
No,
Yeah, I gotta find one of my other sketchbooks, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's something I'll do on occasion if the mood strikes.
Cool.
Awesome. And I think I've also gathered from your Instagram, are you a Simpsons fan?
Sort of.
Okay.
Eric's a big Simpsons mark. He wants to know what your favorite Simpsons.
Yeah, what's your favorite Simpsons episode?
Now I feel like I'm gonna let you down. Honestly, I'm more of a Futurama guy.
Okay, that's fair enough.
That's respectable.
Yeah, what's your favorite Futurama episode?
That is so tough. The Devil's Hands is a pretty good one. Let's see, the one where he goes to the Slurm factory is good.
Oh, okay.
The time machine that they have that only moves forward. Goodness, there's so many. Jurassic Park, you can't go without mentioning that.
Yep.
There's so many touching ones, even like the series finale where Fry and Leela freeze time and then they spend like a lifetime together.
It's one of those, like you said, you hated saying it earlier, but like it's underrated because it always gets compared to The Simpsons, but like it's in a lot of ways it's so much better. Like
there's such great humor to it. Like the one where Bender has a son. There's some good Zoidberg episodes in there.
He's probably my favorite character.
Zoidberg.
Yeah, he's just insane.
I used to just love waking up like randomly early and Comedy Central would be on and there'd be nothing else on because at the time it would just be like infomercials on every other channel, but Futurama was always going to be on Comedy Central like clockwork. It was awesome. So that's where I got mine from.
I should go watch Futurama now. That's what I'll do with my free time.
That's
rewatch Futurama.
No regrets there. No regrets.
You do that and we'll watch that Chikara tag team match with Princess Peach.
Yes, you're not gonna regret that, I promise.
All right. I'll let you know, sir. So, all right, rounding it up with your match this coming Friday for Limitless Wrestling at the games we play. What do you have to say to your opponent, the IWTV Independent Wrestling Champion, Lee Moriarty?
So I mentioned my dislike of the word underrated, and I think the main reason is because I've been hearing that a lot about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I take a lot of sort of offense to that. The reason I don't like that word, it's really just tells me that for one reason or another, people don't think I should be as good as I am. Like they may see my name, and I was like, they might just scroll past that. And then like if they do happen to watch it, they're like amazed by it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take someone like Lee, who he is widely referred to as one of, if not the best independent wrestler in North America.
Right.
So it's sort of insane the recognition that he gets for what he's talented. I'll definitely give him that.
Mm-hmm.
But why is it that you've got someone like Lee who's getting this much attention away from someone like Travis Huckabee? So whether it's by hook or by crook or whatever, if it comes down to me making an example out of him so that people put a little bit more respect on my name, then so be it.
Oh man, you just sold me on this match, this show.
Hell of a promo, my friend.
Hell yeah. Butts and seats.
I will be watching for sure because we will be covering the entire show for our regular episode this week. So we're going to go match by match and do the entire thing. That is, again, for those that might not have caught it the first time, that is the games we play presented by Limitless Wrestling. That is Friday, May 7th at 8 p.m., if I'm not mistaken, right? I am so very much looking forward to it. Me personally, I just want to say, Travis, thank you so much for the time. We really enjoyed having you, getting to learn a little bit more about you. And I am certainly a fan. And in no way will I call you underrated, because I do not want a promo cut about me like that. But Eric, you have anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, just we're very gracious for having you on, Travis. Wish you the best of luck on Friday, and damn, I hope you get a shot at that man's title down the line. If I'm not mistaken, this is a non-title match, right?
Yeah, this is all about the respect.
Do you have any Instagram handles, Twitter handles you want to plug here while we're at it, Travis?
So my Twitter handle and my Instagram handle happen to be the same thing, at Travis_Huckabee. Very convenient.
Easy to remember. Well, give him a follow, everybody. And as always, we are Smarknado on Instagram, Smarknado1 on Twitter. Again, thank you so much for coming on. I'm really glad to have met you and got to know you a little bit better. Eric?
Took the words right out of my mouth. Same. Great to meet you, Travis, and the best of luck to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure.
Thanks so much. Stay fresh, bags.
Keep watching wrestling.